Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. Hope you are able to hear me. Good day, Sandra. Thanks for confirming the sound. Let me display the PowerPoint presentation. Asian session live market analysis on March 21st between 5 and 5:30 GMT. So we'll track the market using the live market code page as a simple tool. So I'll give the link for the same. So here is the link. You can open it in a browser. I'll also focus the camera over that of the live market code page. Currently, you should be able to see the live market code page displayed. Euro is trading around 1.4171, 1.4173. The low is 1.4160. The high was 1.4197. A narrow range swing is seen, and about 8 pips negative net change is seen. And in the case of GBP, there's a slow gainer on Friday, and it is currently trading around 1.6211, 1.6215, 1.6206 is the low, 1.6254 is the high. 20 pips or 21 pips negative net change is seen. So Euro and GBP are showing a nominally USD gaining move. The case of Yen, which was making big moves on last week, currently it is trading around 80.89, 80.92, 80.69. The low 81.02 is the high. 32 pips positive net change is seen. So here again you come across the USD gaining move. And in the case of CHF, and it has made a big drop similar to that of Yen, and which is also recovering. 0.9046, 0.9049 at the current levels. 0.8990 is the low, 0.9053 is the high, 36 pips positive net change is seen. So when Euro is making about 9 pips negative net change, you find 37 pips positive net change in the case of CHF. Similarly, in the case of Yen, about 32 pips positive net change when the dips were less. So which shows a nominal contrarian move is happening even though they are showing the USD gaining move. But to the contrary, you come across in the case of commodity pairs, they are showing USD weakening move. So Canadian dollar USD CAD is currently trading around 0.9804, 0.9808, 0.9807 is the low, and they are just keeping it closer to that, and 0.9853 is the high. 42 pips negative net change is seen. So Canadian dollar is showing USD weakening move. Australian dollar is again above that of the parity, 1.0015, 1.0018 at the current levels, 0.9933 was the low, 0.10020 is the high, 58 pips positive net change is seen. So last week, Australian dollar was suffering a lot when compared to that of Euro and GBP, and now you find that it is recovering more when compared to that of Euro and GBP. This is the week beginning move. They are doing it in the case of crosses, and thereby you come across Euro Australian dollar, GBP Australian dollar. These are all the crosses they are gaining. So you find that the majors are showing the USD weakening move, and the commodities, USD gaining move, and the commodity pairs are showing USD weakening move. This is a typical contrarian move. They try to do it. Sometimes you find the numerator as well as denominator currencies all showing negative net change as one type of contrarian move. The other type of contrarian move, all currencies are showing positive net change. And the third type of contrarian move, namely the majors showing the USD weakening or the strengthening move, the opposite is seen in the case of the commodity pairs. So currently you come across the commodity pairs are showing USD weakening move, and the majors are showing USD gaining move. This is a typical contrarian move. They try to do it for the week beginning. So let us see how exactly this week moves are expected to be. So let me focus the camera over that of the PowerPoint presentation. So expect market moves for today. During the Japanese session, swing and firm up moves are expected. And after firming up, they are expected to make a little bit of volatile moves or a swing during the early European session, and then they could gain quickly Euro and GBP, and that gain could be a very significant gain above that of the high. Then later on, during that of the US session, there will be a swing in the form of move. The momentum might get reduced. And tomorrow, you could come across the drop in the case of Euro and GBP during that of the Japanese session. So, the players wanted to continue the momentum with regard to the USD weakening move, and that is why the commodity pairs are ahead of showing that. And you know the commodity pairs lead the rally and lag behind. So that we need to understand. Then later on, they are expected to continue with regard to USD weakening move. So tomorrow there could be a weak beginning false move. There is a slight shift with regard to that because they are aggressively handling the majors and the crosses alternatively. And today they are expected to focus more on the crosses with regard to the weak beginning false move. And tomorrow they could focus on the weak beginning false move in the case of majors. And thereby they'll be able to earn quite a lot of money for the quarter ending by March 31st. So obviously you'll come across more contrarian moves, and as I explained last week and the beginning on Monday, that there will be more contrarian moves in the market and trade with risk limiting strategies because they are going to be very aggressive. So they have done it in the case of the denominator currencies, USDN and USD we come across very big drop and a very big rise, but the attribute might be vary and they could be different from currency pair to currency pair, like the invert remittance of the currencies and also interventions of BOJ. All those things, ultimately as a trader, we have seen only a big drop in the case of yen and a big rise in the case of yen, USDN. Similarly, in the case of Swiss franc, also a big drop and the rise. And in the case of the Euro and GBP, there was a big drop when the USDN and USD were dropping. And I do not know what attribute we can give for that. And later on, in a cohesive interference, you come across the denominator currencies as well as the numerator currencies gain the levels. So obviously you find that the traders are the affected ones. So obviously we need to use the risk limiting strategies like a hedging or stop. So if you use the hedging, the advantage is we can participate in the lower move and try to book profit in the hedging and keep another hedging order below the market and then try it during the quick upward move. So that way, either way, we'll be able to book profit. And we need to judge that in order to use the hedging effectively. Otherwise, you will be struck with the hedging at the lowest level. So we have to see how exactly smart enough you are in handling the hedges in case if you happen to use the hedges. And immediately when the hedge is making profit, you will need to keep stop at entry. And that way, you will be able to prevent a situation wherein you are struck at the lowest level. So I explained all the trading strategies in my trading system webinars. So kindly follow those things if you are using the hedging. And there's no point in blaming anybody because you have to be smart enough and try to earn from that of the market irrespective of the market conditions. And especially during the quarter ending time, it is known that they will make very aggressive moves in the market, and you have to be prepared for that and keep the contingency plans rather than trying to do the crisis management during such unexpected events. That way, you will be prepared to face any sort of eventualities and the damages will be very minimal, and probably you can reap a very big fruit out of that or a very big profit out of such trades. Then tomorrow, that is 22nd, there could be a quick drop in the case of Euro and GBP after more higher level consolidation and the upward stockment today. And then again they are expected to make volatile moves tomorrow during the European session. So be prepared for that. During the European session, they could give any sort of attribute and excuses for such volatile moves, and they may say that the government has acted like this and the players have acted like this. All excuses you might see, but there could be a big volatile move tomorrow during that of the European session, that is 22nd. Then afterwards, tomorrow US session, we will come across big rise in the case of Euro and GBP and also the denominator currencies. And on 23rd, we could come across the volatile moves and upward spikes. And also on 24th, we could come across volatile moves near that of the high. Then on Friday, we could come across more short covering rise, and the players could gain the levels very quickly in the case of Euro and GBP and induce a big short covering for that particular weekend. And that could happen during that of the European session on Friday, and Friday US session might show a very subdued move. So these are all the expected market moves derived for this particular week based on the algorithm, and it may be right or may not be right, and we have to actually read the market from time to time and synchronize with that of the algorithm derivations and see how far it is coming true, and keep that as a guiding factor. The algorithm based forecast, you try to keep it as a guiding factor and try to use the market reading and try to see what they are trying to do from session to session, and then accordingly take your trading decisions. With regard to the initial lows and the highs set in this particular day, Euro formed the low 1.4160, the high was 1.4197. Both are not breached. In the case of GBP, 1.6206 below, 1.6254 is the high, so they are not breached it. So they are within the range. And in the case of CHF, the low and the high, you come across the low is not breached. CHF has aggressively cut the high, and currently the new high is 0.9053. 38 pips positive net change is seen, and they are still holding the bid order 90.48 above that of the initial high. So they wanted to gain the levels in the case of CHF, because in the case of yen they gained some of the levels, but in the case of CHF there was no news as such to gain the levels. So probably they could simply gain the levels and give sort of attributes for the gains or excuses for such gains. So ultimately you come across a situation wherein extended stop end is being done, thereby any level stop here kept and that would have been filled. That is a scenario you come across in the market during the Fabian times. Then in the case of yen, 80.69 is the low, 81.02 is the high, both are not breached. And the case of Australian dollar, 0.9933 was the low, which is intact, and 1.0010 was the initial high. They breached the high and staying above that. 1.0020 has become the new high. They are still holding above that of the initial high, 1.0010. So a technical trade potency is seen here, and you know that commodity pairs literally and lag behind. This is one such evidence will come across, that Australian dollar will lead and just stop, then subsequently you'll find Euro and GBP will take over and they will try to gain the levels very quickly today. And in the case of Canadian dollar, 0.9825, the initial low that was breached and formed a new low, 0.9807, and the high was 98.53, and that is intact. So you find in the case of the commodity pairs, they breached the high in the case of Australian dollar, breached the low in the case of Canadian dollar. They wanted to make USD weakening move. So currently what you come across as the negative net change in the case of Euro and GBP or a false move. You can derive out of that, and later on during the day you can confirm it whether our understanding is correct or not. So ultimately we try to learn how to read the intentions of the players, because obviously the big players are the one, they are moving the markets on the upside or on the downside depending upon the traders' pending positions, and they got access to that. So we can no way act against them, and we cannot underestimate their play in the market. So we have to seriously read their intentions and trade along with them, and that is the only way to earn money from the other market. If you give deep analysis with regard to the fundamentals and technicals, then probably we might get more confused with regard to the actions in the market. So ultimately, what they wanted to do, whether they want to go forward or a backward, we should need to identify. And that is very essential for us to take a trading decisions rather than worrying about various countries. Of course, if it is our motherland, then probably we have to worry about it. And if there is some other land, then probably we should have the concern and try to help if we are in a position to help. But as far as currency trading is concerned, there is no sentimental attachment to the currency pairs. So if you wanted to trade successfully and earn money from that other market, no sentimental attachment to currency pairs. Identify the currencies which have got the potential to give you the profit and try to take the appropriate positions. So let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation and focus the camera over the live market code page and take up the questions which are asked here. Then Vishnu has got a question. What's your forecast about gold? It go further up from the current level? Yeah, it can go up to 1435 and then drop to 1417 to 1420 level. Then Herman, is it today or tomorrow for the week beginning? Yeah, tomorrow during the Japanese session we could come across the week beginning false move, and they wanted to continue the momentum at the moment and they wanted to gain further levels. So once the traders who had taken the long position last week find that the euro and GBP are not rising, so it's better to book profit, then later on they will rise the level, and at the current level anybody will be afraid to take buy positions. So the players know very well they are holding it and slowly they are expected to gain the levels from here. And afterwards, once they reach the high, lot of traders will go in, those who have gone short will go in for a short covering and turn long. This is the normal strategy. Once the resistance becomes support and they turn long, and later on tomorrow they are expected to make one big downward move and hit all the stops of them and then continue the rise. And you know that they select the V hours, that is the gap time before the start of the Japanese session. How cunning they are, you can understand. When the traders may not be very active during that time and only the pending orders might be there in the form of stops. Probably some limits might be there, but most of them will be the pending orders like stops, and fresh trades may not be there during that time. At that time they simply gain the levels or lose the levels and create the panic press in the market. And I explained many times how exactly such aggressive moves are being done by that of the players or anybody for that matter, and they make use of the all or none order and say about 50,000 lots of sell order at 76. They will straight away go take down the market downward without even selling one position, looking for a matching buy order. And obviously nobody will keep 50,000 lots buy order. So it will just expose all the stops and quickly in no time it will come up to 79 by using a buy order, a normal buy order at 79 when market is around 76. So it will just absorb all the stops. So this is a very cunning strategy and there can be so many attributes to that, but this is the way they earn the money. There is Heyman. Is it today or tomorrow for the week being Don USD CHF outlook? USD CHF, when you see that they gain more levels when compared to that of the dip in the case of euro, and also in the case of euro CHF, we come across one of the relative cross that it has gained about 46 pips already from 1.24 it was, and from there they took it to 1.27 and then 1.28. And they are expected to make a contrarian move of gaining the levels in the case of yen and CHF, but also gaining the levels in the case of euro and GBP during the day. So soon we should come across USD CHF coming to that of 93-94 area. When everybody is afraid of taking buy position, they coolly show that is a easy trade. When all take buy position, okay, the going is going to be good, then they drop it and hit all the stops. This is the game. Do you expect the USD yen to drop any further down? No, USD yen, you know that after the intervention story, it went up to 82 and came down to 80.50. Dropped about 150 pips and brought it to that of the normalcy of 150 pips gain for the day. And just try to bring it within the norms, even though there was an intervention. And the intervention gain was hardly about 100 pips. So I don't think that intervention can simply bring only 100 pips. Anyhow, that's my personal view. And they are expected to gain the levels in the case of USD and again. And they could go to 82 area during the. See, in the market, we need to understand one important thing. They need to create the uncertainty. Only then the traders will commit either way positions. Then they can hit the stops on either way and try to earn. In that process, when you are holding long, they quickly gain the level, we can book profit, then we become a smart trader. If you fail to book profit, then they may show the loss in our position. So either it is short position or a long position, and grabbing the profit is another important aspect in trading. So if you just go into that of the analysis and spend all your time in analysis and thinking that as per the analysis the market is expected to make a move, then they may give disappointment to us. So when the profit is seen, try to grab it or at least keep stop at entry or in some place so that a minimal profit is being protected. In morning glory, do you expect Aussie to drop European session? No, I'm not expecting Aussie to drop now today because they have done all the downward moves last week. So you could come across further gains in the case of Australia. After gaining quickly the levels, then probably they may just make another drop. Then crude, it has come to 102 level, so you know that they may take it up to 105, 106 and make some upward stop and then come below that of 100 again. This is going to be the scenario till end of the month. 95 to 106, 107 level. Because whenever they make quick upward stop and you will find some new levels are being reached. Because up to that the stops will be there, so they will try to trigger the stops. During such stop-ins, exit out of the positions. Whenever there is a quick move seen in the market, understand they are false moves because they take very less position and gain the levels or losing the levels. Then Anurag. How one should take positions when they are making slow slide towards session end. You have to see always the momentum in the market, and once there is a drop during the session end or the end of the session, then wait for 30 minutes from the start of the new session. Then we will be able to read their intentions during that session. If you are smart enough, then you can do a gap time trade. Otherwise, if you want to do very safe trade, wait for first 30 minutes and see whether they are breaching that particular low. If they are not breaching it in first 30 minutes or 35 minutes, then try to take a buy position near the low. If it is near the high, try to take a sell position. So I explained it in my trading system. I think since you are listening to this my trading system webinars with an impulsive mood or in a hurry to find a quick solution, you are not able to grasping all the concepts, even though I have given it free. Probably if I had charged for that, and a lot of people would have just spent more time in understanding it. Just because I have given it free, you always keep it aside and say, okay, tomorrow I can listen to that. And that tomorrow doesn't come. Then NASCO. Do you see Euro USD going to 42.80? Yeah. In this particular week and next week, they could go to 43, 45 or 44 area. And are you expecting a particular level in Euro and GBP? Whatever be the level, they will start sliding. No, it is next to impossible to estimate the level for turnaround. So even the players are not keeping in mind, okay, up to this level we have to rise and things like that. So the players only think of earning money from the other traders. When the short covering is not coming after the rise, then they will make further rise and create the fear, margin fear, and induce short covering. If the traders continue to sell as an averaging, then they try to rise further up and induce the short covering. Then obviously the traders will do the short covering when they make about 500, 600 pips move. And in order to earn back the lost money, they will turn long. They know very well that is the mind of the trader. So the levels are not predetermined by even the players. So how can we predetermine the levels? We can only estimate based on the potencies to a certain extent and the relative strength of the moves, but nothing more than that. We can only approximately estimate the levels, like whether it can go to 42, 43. 42 means it is just 30 pips away. It's not a big deal, because in a day they can rise or drop 150 pips. So from 1.4180 to 150 pips, you can estimate that could be the high potency. That's how you can calculate. Then Jan Poker, you expect direction of Euro GBP. Euro GBP, they are just taken it up to 87.40, 87.50 area. From here, they are expected to make the slide. Probably today they might hold and make a little bit swing here and then build sell positions, and tomorrow onwards they could drop. For that, they are expected to gain more levels. On Friday, you would have noticed GBP was not gaining much when compared to that of Euro. That is mainly to handle Euro GBP. And from today, Euro US session, and tomorrow you could come across GBP started gaining momentum. Then you will find Euro GBP making the slide. Then Bazaar. Do you consider GBP resistance turned support to be around 1.63 for tomorrow downward stop? And yeah, they could go above 63. It is not a big deal. So in the case of GBP, they have got a potency to rise up to 250 pips. And nowadays you find that they are rising only 100 pips. That means they are just making the GBP moves much lesser when compared to that of Euro in order to gain the in order to make the extended upward stop in the case of Euro GBP. Afterwards, you will find that GBP gaining about 250 pips just like that, and using any one trigger or a speech. Then later on, you will find that GBP started gaining more. So in that process, you know that GBP galloping the levels will be phenomenal. And you know, I remember that when Euro was around 1.50 in 2008, and from that it gained about 1000 pips to 1.60. And GBP, it was around 1.93, went up to 2.11. So about 1600 pips they gained at that time in a matter of only 15 days. And this is a month in time, so be careful for the quarter ending. They could make some aggressive moves on the upside in the case of Euro and GBP. In house, is it better to take a buy sell positions after 3:30 GMT? Yeah. Because when they are near the low, then you can take a buy. When they are near the high, not breach the high, then you can take a sell position. Then do you see Australian dollar going back to 99 before? Probably tomorrow they may do that, but today I'm expecting them to take it further high because they are holding above that of the initial high 1.0010 still. Then DP. Do you see okay. Jason, how about USD CAD? USD CAD, they breached the initial low and staying below. Probably they may revisit 87 area before going up. Then DP, gold forecast. Gold could be trading around 1435 to 1405, and below 1400 we might see. So during such moves, you should try to grab it. See, on that is last week, they came down to about 1380, 82 and quickly gained the levels. See, and when everybody was talking about the risk aversion, gold was dropping. And many thought that, okay, gold could be the safe haven to make investment, but it was making a very big drop, and also silver was making a very big drop to 83, 82 area, 33, 32 area. And crude also made that drop, and everybody was wondering which is the safe haven, which side we have to go, whether we have to go to east, west, south, north. They are not able to understand whether they have to invest in Japanese yen or Swiss franc or US dollar, gold, silver. That is how they do it. So anything they call it as a safe haven, understand that becomes a risky currency. So that is a play we need to understand. So let me go back to that of the PowerPoint presentation. So expected market moves for today. Swing and firm up moves are expected during Japanese session, and European session swing and rise moves could be seen. Quick rise could be seen during the late European session. Then swing and firm up moves could be seen during that of the US session. They could hold the high, and tomorrow during the Japanese session they could make a very quick downward move and then subsequently make some volatile moves. And Wednesday onwards and tomorrow US session onwards they could gain the levels again. And this week they could make more levels in the case of Euro and GBP, and also in the case of denominator currencies. Slowly the commodity pairs might lose the momentum during that particular time. So when Euro gains about 300-400 pips, you might see that Australian dollar gaining about 100-150 pips. So they are expected to lead the rally and lag behind. Keep that in mind. So after the gains, don't bet on those currencies. Or after the drop, don't bet on a currency like USD CAD. Then it might be risky, because the USD CHF has made a massive drop. Don't expect USD CAD to make such massive drops, because they will just lose the momentum as such. So with regard to the initial lows and the highs, they are not breached the low or the high in the case of Euro, GBP, and in the case of CHF, they breached the high and they are still staying above. So there is a great potential for it to go up. And if you are doing a technical trade, try to buy and keep stop below that of the initial low, 0.9047 as a tight stop. And once the position makes about 10 to 15 pips profit, keep stop at entry, that you can try. And in the case of yen, they are not breached the low or the high. They might do it from European and US sessions. And Australian dollar, they breached the high and staying above that of the initial high, 1.0010. There again, a technical trade potential is there. You should be able to get about 50 to 60 profit. And in the case of CHF, Canadian dollar, they breached the initial low and formed a new low. 98.25 was the initial low, and currently trading around 98.07. They could reach 97 area, probably about 30-40 pips, and then reverse it or hold it as such. So not much of a sell and buy trade potential is seen in the case of Canadian dollar, and probably leave it aside today, and after the drop tomorrow you can do a buy and sell trade in these currencies. So I take this opportunity to thank everybody who have come here to listen to my webinar, and thanks FX Trade for this particular opportunity. And I'll come again by tomorrow, same time, 5 GMT, and review the market for you and try to relate today's market conditions and try to give you the more insight with regard to the market moves, and probably try to learn using common sense in understanding the market. Thank you one and all. See you.